Well, we could talk about racial and cultural stereotyping in the video games of the 20th century, but let's talk song. I believe that BOWSER bought our songwriting course. BOWSER is a relatively inexperienced songwriter who recently published his first single called Peaches and apparently broke the internet with it. When I first heard the song, I thought, too bad. It's too short and harmonically not very interesting in order to include it into my Let's Talk song. And then I listened to it again and I sat down at the piano and tried to figure out the chords. And I was amazed because the song seems simple, but has those tiny little details that make it an amazing piano ballad. I am going to look at the song and give you 3 reasons why I am of the firm conviction that BOWSER bought the almost but not quite complete guide to songwriting, our songwriting course. For that, we are going to start looking at harmony and melody as always, and we are going to start looking at the intro chords. The intro goes like this. We have got 4 chords. Those 4 chords are G flat, A flat, F minor, and B flat minor. We are definitely in the key of D flat major, or if we look at the relative minor chord, we are in the key of B flat minor. Remember that when we look at chord functions and chord scale degrees, we always look at it as if it were in a major key. So we always start with D flat as the 1 and so on and so forth. So when we look at chord functions, we have got 4, 5, 3 minor, 6 minor. Let's look at the chords again. G flat, the 4 chord, A flat, 5 chord, F minor, 3 minor, and B flat minor, the 6 minor chord. Now if we look at chord functions, we have looked at chord scale degrees now, 4, 5, 3 minor, 6 minor. We are now going to look at the chord functions. The 4 chord is a subdominant chord. The 5 chord is a very strong dominant chord with a really strong pull towards the tonic, which in that case would be the 1 or the 6 minor. But we don't go to the 1 or the 6 minor. Instead, we go to 3 minor, F minor, which then leads to B flat minor, the 6 minor chord. The 4 chord, the subdominant chord, has a floaty vibe. Okay? From there we go to the 5 chord. That chord really wants to go somewhere, but we don't go where the chord wants to go. We kind of put something else in between. And this here is the first time that we arrive at some kind of home, that we arrive in the tonic world. So we have got a subdominant chord, a dominant chord, something that we are going to talk about, and a home. Although a sad home, it's a home, the 6 minor chord. Now, we do have to talk about the function of the 3 minor chord. In the almost but not quite complete guide to songwriting that is out now and that I believe is on sale just for today and maybe tomorrow, but it's definitely the last weekend that the almost but not quite complete guide to songwriting is going to be on sale for 299 euros. Make sure to get your copy at spectreacademy.net. Get 52 plus hours of songwriting video course with Henning, good friend of mine and sponsor of all of this, and me. We talk about harmony, lyrics, writing, real writers. We talk about the different chord functions, and we talk about writing piano ballads. And if you watch the lesson on writing on piano, you will find that BOWSER has definitely watched this, and we are going to find reasons, as I already said, in the course of this video. Now, the function of the 3 minor chord in the Almost But Not Quite Complete Guide to Songwriting, we say that the 3 minor chord is in a way a little bit like a tonic chord, parked car with the engine running. So something that has got no strong pulls, but is kind of hanging there and still wants to go somewhere. Now here we have got something special, because here we actually are not in the key of D flat major, a chord that doesn't come up throughout the whole song, but instead we are in the key of B flat minor, so in the key of the relative minor of D flat. It shares the same notes as D flat major, but in my opinion, it changes the function of the 3 minor chord. Because if we looked, which we are not going to do for a very long time, but just for a short time, if we looked at the 6 minor chord as our 1 minor chord, okay, bear with me here, then the 3 minor becomes the 5 chord. Yes, it's a 5 minor chord, but still it's a 5 chord. And this 5 chord always has got dominant function towards its 1. Now here in that case, we can actually hear that the 3 minor chord is not parked car with the engine running, but has got a weak dominant pull towards the 6 minor. This is something that is special if we are in a minor key instead of in a major key. Let's look at the chord progression once again and listen to the strong dominant feeling of the real 5 chord of this A flat major, and then also let's listen for the weak dominant function, but still a dominant function, that the F minor chord has. You can actually hear this F minor chord wanting to resolve.
Meiner what? Meiner what?
Meine Fresse.
Minor chord. This is a minor chord too?
This is what happens if you crash somebody else's studio. I don't know who crashes whose studio right now.
Yeah, at the what is this? That's not mine.
Yeah, well, I brought my own furniture.
I'm gonna go disassemble a bedroom now. And throw everything in the Hof, which is a German word, where your car is. So good luck fixing that.
Or we could just get rid of, or put the car somewhere else.
Or we don't talk about cars, we talk about songs.
We could talk about cars, but let's talk.
Oh, by the way, what you should be doing is right about here is a QR code that you can scan that takes you to my affiliate link to the Almost But Not Quite Complete Guide to Songwriting.
Why would I take your affiliate link if I got my very own?
Because mine's prettier. Mine's purple.
Yours includes numbers, a 4 and a 2.
As if you'd know. I'm using QR codes now.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not in my videos, I'm not telling people what they go to. It just says scan me. So I'm really pissing off my viewers.
Product placement, next level. Yeah. I had already finished the course pitch, but I guess there is some more course pitch here in this analysis video.
It's a good course.
It's a good course, yes.
It's this, just with me in it, so
also,
it's much worse.
I just proved you wrong a little bit.
Why? What?
I talked about the function of a 3 minor chord. Remember that we talked about 3 minor chord
it's a placeholder. Parking spot.
Parking spot. Parked car with engine running. Not really dominant function, although it's a minor third below the dominant chord.
But it has none of the dominant pulls.
You're right. Unless we are not in a major key, but instead in the relative minor key, where this 3 minor chord suddenly becomes a 5 minor chord. Yes, it's a minor
just
chord.
Without the major third. Okay,
yes, it's a minor chord. The major third is not there, giving it the strong pull. By the way, it's going to be a major third later on, but spoiler alert.
We're talking about BOWSER browser?
We're talking about BOWSER Peaches, yes. Listen to this. Now the 3 minor chord comes. So it's F minor, the 5 minor chord that wants to go to the B flat minor 6 minor chord. Listen to the weak pull.
It absolutely
very consequential. So it
do it as
needs to go there.
Play it as a major.
Yeah, I will. Even stronger.
The question now is, does that work with a melody?
There is no melody because it's the intro. And in the verse, they combine the ideas, which makes it kind of interesting.
And the cool thing is now, if both of them are an option with them, let's say there is a melody on it. If both of them are an option, then that gives you tools. That gives you options. That gives you choices.
Plus, writing on the piano, you will also have the chance to change your bass note, which is something that they do in the verse to make the transitions even smoother. Because if we play the major 3 of this 3 major chord, 5 or 6, then we go from the A flat, that is the chord before, over A, which is the 3 of the F, to B flat minor and make it a perfect chromatic line upwards. Look at the bass notes. Now,
I didn't pay any attention and you kind of lost me, so I might have to go back to this almost but not quite complete guide to songwriting and check out the harmony section and see what we talked about, because I don't know things.
But I think I must save my car first before we continue here.
You have a few minutes. And also, hi Steffi! She's
now it's your turn to say hello, Steffi.
She's behind the ball somewhere. She's the real star of the show. Hi. I'm waving at the monitor.
She's sitting in there.
I'm gonna go and get things started.
Yeah, I'll be out. Also, I could give you my car key and you just change.
Okay. Now just finish this and then leave your car.
Okay.
And of course, leave all of this in here. Bye bye.
Now, where were we?
In my studio. That's where you were.
This got further than I'd expected, but now you know everything about the possible dominant function of a 3 minor chord in a minor song. How cool is that? This was not intentional. I hope you noticed. I think we have finished talking about the chords of the intro, but still, we are going to stick with the intro for just another minute, because here goes the first reason why I am of the firm conviction that BOWSER has actually watched our songwriting course. He knows that one of the many advantages of writing on the piano is that it allows for embellishments and arpeggio-style harmonies that you wouldn't get on the guitar. Now, let's look at the tiny embellishments that BOWSER includes here. This is a note that is not in the chord normally. It's the 9 of a G flat chord. Again the 9, this time of the A flat chord. This is F minor with the 4. And here we've got sus2 in the middle. So those are tiny things that you can do on the piano that you would have problems with on the guitar, because A, you only have got 4 strings. Because A, you only have got 6 strings, not 4 strings. Plus, you have to think about finger positions and stuff that your body actually lets you do when you want to include embellishments. And here you have got 10 fingers at your disposal, and you have many more keys that you can just press at the same time. Reason number 1 why I think that BOWSER has bought our almost but not quite complete guide to songwriting. He knows about the power of arpeggios and embellishments when writing on the piano. Let's go to the verse. Let's look at the chords for the verse first. Here is something that I already gave away when talking to Henning. We have got a chord progression that is inspired by the original and basic chord progression from the intro, but kind of takes it to another level. Let's look at chord names, chord scale degrees, and chord functions. G flat, 4-chord subdominant, A flat, 5-chord subdominant, and this time we go directly to B flat minor, 6 minor chord. So in comparison to the intro, we do not include this additional dominant chord in front of the B flat minor, but instead play the B flat minor for 2 bars. This is the first half of the verse. The second half of the verse introduces a chord that we have spoiled already when talking with Henning, and this is a 5 of 6 minor. Let's look at it. We start with G flat 4, then we go to A flat 5, and we do exactly what I told Henning would be a very intelligent way to include this additional secondary dominant chord. We play, and you can play it like this, including the F to make it even clearer. We are playing an F7 with its 3 with A in bass. And this is the secondary dominant, the 5 of B flat minor, okay? And just like this, we have got a really, really elegant bass line movement doing a chromatic line up from A flat to B flat. And you have to make a jazz face while playing this 5 of 6 minor with 3 in bass, because it's so cool and intelligently written. Which brings us to the second reason why I am convinced that BOWSER has bought our almost but not quite complete guide to songwriting. He knows about the power of inversions. Inversions is when you play a chord but not with its root in bass, but instead with either the 3 of the chord or the 5 of the chord in bass. He also knows that including inversions in your piano writing is a clever thing, especially when it suits the elegance of the bass movement, which is why BOWSER applies this, okay? He sees, yes, we go from the A flat major to the secondary dominant chord F7, and the closest note that we can reach from this A flat is the A, which is the 3 of the F7 chord. Now, isn't that cool? I'm really, really convinced that he has bought our songwriting course. It's as simple as that. We are now going to look at the melody of the verse. The melody starts on the 1, so on the beat, on the downbeat of the measure. In my opinion, we have got 3 musical phrases that get longer, okay? So we have got 1 musical phrase that is actually just 1 note, and it's that note. Okay, so it's the B flat note, and we are singing this on top of the G flat chord, so the 3 of the G flat chord. Then the second phrase is "You're so cool." A little ad-libby downward motion there. And the third line is ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-dum. It's a melody that strongly relies on eighth notes, and that, as I said, take one musical idea, bum, and expands it. Okay, so really short phrase, bum, then a little longer phrase, bum, ba-dum, and then the long phrase, bum, ba-dum, ba-da-da-da-da-dum. This repeats and gets slightly varied because of the lyrics that we are going to look at, as always, at the end of this video. Chorus. Let's look at the chords first. What chords have we got here? We keep the basic idea from the intro. 4, 5, 3 minor, 6 minor. But after the regular 4 chord, we play the 5 chord in the right hand, so A flat major, but we keep the G flat in the bass. So we have got G flat, A flat over G flat, F minor 7 if you ask me, and B flat minor. We keep chord functions, but we add a very, very piano-typical element, which is the third reason why I am convinced that BOWSER has got our course. He knows all about the power of pedal notes, of pedal tones. Pedal tones are bass notes that do not change even if the chords change. So when Henning and I write music, we usually include the pedal tone technique in the verses to make it a bit less busy, to keep the bass very simple because the bass rarely moves. Here we see a new technique that actually we do not use very often, but that is very, very effective in that context. We have got pedal tone technique in order to add excitement and feeling to the chorus. Now, let's listen to the effect that this has. The effect that this has is a very, very, very big tension that we are building, okay? So it's kind of the subdominant chord, the G flat, starts building up. And we build even more. We include this passing weak dominant chord, and then we resolve to 6 minor. Listen to it again. Everything leads to this 6 minor chord. When looking at the melody of the chorus, we can spot 2 different phrases. One is the peaches phrase and one is the I love you phrase. The peaches phrase goes like this. It outlines the chords that are actually played. It's always the 3 and the 5 of the chord that is playing right now. So, if we have got the G flat chord, the G flat consists of a G flat, a B flat, and a D flat, then the 3 and the 5 are the B flat and the D flat, okay? So we have... Then we move, for now, imagine this pedal tone, but it's not important for what I'm teaching now. So we have got the A flat chord, and again the 3 and the 5. Same rhythmical pattern from one chord to the other, so the rhythmical pattern, the rhythmical motif is bum 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 ba bum ba 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 bum bum. A motif that speeds up, that includes a lot of 16th notes now, and that therefore is very much in contrast with the verse that was very much 8th note based. the second motif, the I love you motif, and it took me a while to understand that BOWSER was actually singing I love you because apparently he is eating while singing. It goes like this. So in contrast to, again, the peaches phrase at the beginning of the chorus, we have got longer notes, we add feeling and expression, we have a big range, a big melodic range that actually is one complete octave. And therefore, in the second half of the chorus, or in the second half of the chord progression, we have got a very different phrase compared to the peaches phrase at the beginning of the chorus. One more thing that I want to add is that in terms of start of melody, in terms of beginning of melody, the chorus does not offer a lot of variation compared to the verse because both start on the downbeat. Okay, so peach, you're so cool. This is on the downbeat, and also peaches, 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 peaches also starts on the downbeat, but already when listening to the beginning of the verse and the chorus, we see that the contrast comes from somewhere else. The contrast comes from the rhythm, not even from the melodic range, because actually it's the same starting note, same starting point, which is the downbeat, but totally different rhythmical pattern. Peach, you're so cool. Okay, so long pauses and a lot of air in between notes, and the chorus is peaches, 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 peaches. Actually, when we look at the chords and this build-up within the chorus, this could have been a great transitional bridge for another chorus that opens up, but unfortunately, BOWSER didn't get to the section in our songwriting course where we talk about different song sections and how you build up towards the chorus. After the chorus number 1, we see verse number 2. And now, verse number 2 is the exact same thing harmonically if we compare it to verse number 1. However, lyrics, metric rhythm, and therefore melodic rhythm and melody movement is rather different compared to verse number 1. This shows me that BOWSER is a lazy lyric and melody writer. Yes, second verses are terribly hard to write because in verse number 1 you establish harmonic movement, melodic rhythm, metric rhythm, rhyme pattern, and all of the things you actually want to repeat in your second verse. Now BOWSER does that with the chords. He also does that roughly with where the melody goes, but the rhythmic patterns adapt to the lyrics too much. Let's look at the melody in verse number 2. Melody goes like this. So yes, we have got a lot of the melodic elements from verse number 1, but we haven't got this development from very short phrase to medium-sized phrase to long phrase. What we have is just one very long phrase. And then this one gets repeated. Different melody movement, but same rhythm. Then for the second half of the verse, we have got the same idea, but we take away notes because the lyrics go like this. Princess Peach at the end of the line. And then we suddenly leave this established new metric and melodic rhythmic pattern. And we have I'll make you mine, which is really, really cool, but is something that is very unexpected in this second verse. Actually, the second verse feels a little like a primary bridge because it introduces new ideas based on what we've heard before. So, Mr. BOWSER, now that I know that you have our songwriting course, I also know that you are following the Let's Talk Song channel. I'm guessing you are watching this. Make sure for the next songs, you have great potential, make sure for the next songs to actually work your way through the second verses. And we have to talk about song lengths as well, and different sections that should not abruptly end just because you feel like it. This is something that BOWSER does in chorus number 2. Chorus number 2 starts the same way as chorus number 1. So we've got peaches, 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 I love you. Oh. So even this whoa, whoa is the same thing as in chorus number 1, but now suddenly BOWSER changes the melody completely. Okay, and he goes into ad-lib Armageddon mode. This is a very, very scientific, musically scientific term. Ad-lib Armageddon mode. He does peaches, peaches, and then we find something at the end of the song that is, in my opinion, a fourth reason why Mr. BOWSER has got our songwriting course. And yes, he takes the right conclusions from it, but he doesn't follow through. So he learned about cluster chords on the piano, which is something that we also talk about in the lesson about writing on piano. So a cluster chord is if you just do this. This can add tension, confusion, insecurity, expression, dramatic feeling to your song, and BOWSER uses that to end his song mid-chorus after 1 minute and 30-something seconds. In Mr. Brightside by The Killers, in the Let's Talk Song video that I'm going to give you a link in the description, we talked about first single releases. So it's the first single that actually comes out of the world and is a statement about how you want to be perceived as an artist. So the Killers presented themselves as punk, indie, rock and roll. We don't care about the importance of writing a second verse and we just record the first thing that comes to our mind. BOWSER does the same thing in a way. He ends the song after 1 minute and 30-something seconds because he feels like it. And the internet is proving him right? The internet is showing that apparently there is a market, still a market, thank God, for something outside of the conventional songwriting and outside of the conventional song form. So again, know about the patterns, also about the patterns in song structure, and be able to break the rules when necessary. Good job, Mr. BOWSER. We are now going to look at the lyrics. And yes, I am convinced by now that BOWSER has got the almost but not quite complete guide to songwriting, but I think he hasn't gotten to the lyric part yet, because he does beginner's mistakes that you will not do after watching the lyric section of the course. There are some cool things and ideas, and there is even a little prosody here and there. There are poetic resources that he apparently knows and makes very good use of, but there are things that I would have done differently. What's special and attractive is the spoken dedication in the intro, when he goes, "This one is for my one and only true love, Princess Peach." This gives the song a live feeling, right? This is not something that you would say on a record. This is something that you would say when you play the song live, okay? And this is unusual and something that catches the listener's attention right away. Verse number 1 is, "Peach, you're so cool, and with my star we're gonna rule. Peach, understand, I'm gonna love you till the very end." Or, I'm gonna love you till the very end. Let's look at the beginning, which is far weaker than the end. "Peach, you're so cool, and with my star we're gonna rule." Let's look at the phrase. "And with my star we're gonna rule." What are the stressed words in that phrase? Yes, it's star and rule. What words does BOWSER stress in the song? With and gone, gonna. And with my star, we're gonna rule. You shouldn't do that. You should mind the stresses of the words. You should keep it conversational and in the way that you would actually say the words, and find a way to do that. The star thing is an easy fix. And with my star, instead of and with my, okay? And with my star, we're gonna rule. I still have got the stress on the gonna, but see, within 20 seconds, I've fixed one of the two major problems of this phrase. So, Mr. BOWSER, please give it a lot more thought and make sure that your word stresses are okay next time around. The second part is far better because here we have got the right stresses. Peach, understand, I'm gonna love you till the very end. Yes, the very is stressed more than the end, but I think it's a poetic resource because it kind of keeps the tension, okay? I'm gonna love you till the... Everybody wants to hear the word end, especially because we have already established a rhyming pattern and we know that it is a word that has to rhyme with understand, but he kind of builds tension by including this very. It's kind of a dominant word, if you will, okay? So if we've got dominant chords that we can use to build more tension before the resolution, then this very could be seen as a dominant word, a word that builds tension towards the end, towards the actual end. Rhyme pattern is AABB. I'm not really happy with this rhyming pattern, and here's why. The song hasn't got a transitional bridge between verse and chorus. That means that we need to build tension and keep the interest of the listener in the verse. Now, with an AABB rhyming pattern, what you do is that you always finish something. Peach, you're so cool. Unresolved. And with my star, we're gonna rule. And the melody line also goes down and resolves. And then we go up again. Peach, I understand. Unresolved. I'm gonna love you till the very end. My idea here would be to, for example, use an ABAB rhyming pattern, because then after the first half of the verse, you need to actually keep the attention running in order to get to the end of the verse, which then can be a build-up to the chorus. The chorus is unusual, but it serves its purpose. We repeat a very important word, which is the name of the person that this song is dedicated to. Now, I don't know if Peaches is an official nickname for Princess Peach or BOWSER just makes it up on the spot. Not an expert, sorry. But what I can tell you is that it's a very good idea to use the topic of the song, if you will, very often in your chorus. So we have got peaches, 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 I love you. Whoa. 3 lines. Peaches, 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 peaches. Line number 1. This one repeats. Peaches, 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 peaches. We don't talk about rhyming patterns because it's always the same word. And then we have got I love you. Oh. Yes, oh is a word. Yes, oh is maybe the most important word in pop music. And BOWSER knows about this and applies it perfectly. There is nothing much we can add to the lyrics in the chorus because there are not a lot of lyrics in the chorus. And then we have got the second verse. Second verses are hard to write. And what he does is kind of cute. He mentions the names of his enemies and he uses that in order to show his love for Princess Peach and to tell everybody that his love is stronger than all of his enemies. Now he says, Mario, Luigi and the Donkey Kong too. 1,000 troops of Koopas couldn't keep me from you, Princess Peach. At the end of the line, I'll make you mine. Now, he says Mario, Luigi, and a Donkey Kong too. Therefore, he needs to break the metric and melodic rhythm. okay, it's a decision that he made. Let's not think about it too intensively. In the second line, he does a very, very, very cool thing. He uses alliteration with the K sound. He says, 1,000 troops of Coopers couldn't keep me from you. So he uses those 3 K sounds very close to each other in order to stress. K is a very aggressive consonant. In order to stress this fighting atmosphere that he evokes in the verse. And then in the second half of the verse he says, Princess Peach, at the end of the line, I'll make you mine. Now, Mr. Bowser, we are in the 21st century, and it's not cool to tell a woman that you are going to make her yours. You don't do that anymore. Wake up, okay? Really mad at you right now. Never mind. Chorus is the same thing, although it ends abruptly in the middle. And this is basically everything there is to say about Peaches by BOWSER. All in all, for a first song, good job, sir. Nice performance. This is actually something that Henning would kind of ignore, and he would say, it's always about the song. The importance is in the song and not so much in the performance. Here we have a clear example of a song that has got weaknesses and mistakes in the art of songwriting that still, with the performance, has the potential to become a hit song, which it is right now. So this is everything for today. I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the song analysis. I hope you were not too annoyed by Henning just breaking into my studio and kind of trashing the video a little bit. If you like the video, please give me your thumbs up, give me a subscription, make sure you get notified when a new video comes out. It's every week. And please write comments in which you can also tell me which songs you want me to analyze next. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I did the first analysis video that was actually a fan request. I did What's My Age Again by Blink-182. I think that Sebastian Philippi, who wished for that analysis, was quite happy with it. So if you want me to analyze your favorite song, just write it in the comments. Go to spectreacademy.net and get your copy of the almost but not quite complete guide to Songwriting Course today, because this is probably the last day that it's going to be on sale for a rather long time. Today only 299 euros. It will go up to 449 euros. So if you want to save a shitload of money, you must buy the course right now. I guess we've talked song. We can talk about racial and cultural stereotyping in the video games of the 20th century.
Peaches, 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 I love you.